Welcome to the next episode of Long Island TikTok, and today we're here with Chef Danielle Sepsy. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
We're so happy that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Why did you get on TikTok? Start from the very beginning and take us through that process.
Absolutely. So for me, it all started when I filmed a show I was on called The Big Brunch on HBO Max. It was a cooking competition with 10 chefs from around the country, and I happened to be a finalist on that show. And after it filmed, I had 6 months between when I left LA filming it and when it was going to air. And so during that 6-month period, I said, okay, let me try to build my brand and really just have a better social media presence and work on my content and have some really great, fun, eye-catching, interesting content that will keep people's interest and just keep them coming back for more and make them want to follow. So I ended up hiring my social media manager, who's still my manager today, Chris. He's amazing, from Russo Strategic Partners. And he and I kind of came together. I was already doing Instagram, but my content wasn't really consistent, and I wasn't figuring out or taking the time to figure out what was really working and then sticking to that. And so Chris helped me do that, and I was on TikTok but had just maybe 2 or 3 posts, really wasn't taking the time to do it. And so we came together and we started filming a bunch of different types of videos. So some were cooking. When I went to Sicily, this was the most popular dish on every menu, pasta con sarde. Some were sort of comedic.
There's no spots at the Stop and Shop? What, nobody works? Come on, it's a midday on a Thursday. Come on.
All different genres. And then we figured out what worked, and some videos were going viral. I said, okay, this is what we need to stick to. And what I came to find was really sticking to what is truly authentic to you, and just being unapologetically you is what people want to see. Can't really be fabricated. And there's a community of people out there like you who will tune in and follow and want to see more. And so for me, it was a lot, especially on TikTok, even more so than Instagram. It was my Long Island Italian videos or my Italian American recipes that really took off. And I started to build a community on social media and on TikTok especially, and my TikTok following grew really fast. And my followers were really engaged, so it was really fun. It was great to build that community and to have all these engaged people just to chat with.
When did you realize the impact of social media and made you realize that you needed to get on this and you needed to hire a social manager and kind of use this to elevate your career?
For me, I realized that once you have a few videos that go viral and you sort of become the go-to in a certain niche. So for me, it was Italian cooking, a little bit of baking also. Then different news programs and television programs would go on social media and search these things when they needed someone to speak about the pastina shortage that was going on, which we can touch upon eventually.
We will.
Yeah, they found videos of me that were, had millions of views. And then, Inside Edition is calling me and Good Morning America is calling me and saying, can you speak about this? You seem to be an expert on this topic. And it's all because of TikTok, which is pretty insane. But that helped me build my brand as a chef, as a personality. And then I own a bakery. And so then as people get to know me, then they say, okay, what else does she do? Oh, she owns a bakery. Let me order from her business online. And then my sales are growing. So it really is an important tool. And a lot of people are resistant. Oh, I don't want to be on TikTok. But it's really how businesses are marketing themselves at this point in time and how we're going to really capture the younger audience.
So what came first? Was it social media or your business?
My business came first. Actually, we can go back to when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
So, 20 years ago, I always loved to bake. And when I was a kid, I started baking all different things. And one day I made scones in my parents' house, and I made all different flavor scones. And my family said, wow, these are the best scones we've ever had. You should sell these. So at 13 years old, I always had kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. And I started to wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, make scones, bring samples to different businesses in my town. And people, I didn't even have a cell phone. I had a business card that I made on Microsoft Paint, which we still have a few of, which is pretty crazy. And I just hit the pavement, and I went out and tried to get people to buy my products. And by the time I got home from that first day trying to get customers, we had several voicemails on my home voicemail box since I didn't have a cell phone. And people were saying, we really want to sell your scones. So at 13 years old, I started the business technically, and my parents would deliver the baked goods on their way to work since I couldn't drive. And so that's how my business really started. But then I sort of put it on hold when I went to college. I went to college at Penn State for hospitality management just to really learn the business side, knowing that hopefully I'd come back to it eventually. Then I worked in hotels and for event companies for about 10 years. And people kept asking all along, are the baked goods going to come back? We want the baked goods. We want the baked goods. And so I started doing it on the side, and then it just grew exponentially. And I was always sort of afraid to take the plunge to really do it full time. And then actually the company that I had worked for in 2020, they started laying people off. I got laid off, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was able to really commit to my business, and now I sell about 110,000 baked goods a month.
Wow.
We wholesale to about 150, 160 stores in the New York area, and then we ship nationwide on our website. My business is called Hungry Gnome, by the way. But, it started with that. But as I said, social media is an amazing tool to keep people engaged. And so now even with my business, let's not just show pictures of the scones, the cookies, the muffins. Let's show them what else they can do with it. Let's take a biscuit and make a recipe with it. And a quick, 30-second TikTok video. People are like, oh, wow, that looks so good. Let me order. So, the business came first, but they go hand in hand, and it's helped it to grow quite a bit.
So would you say that TikTok really changed your career path moving forward?
I would say TikTok just helped solidify in my mind that I not only love to be a chef, but I want to be teaching people how to cook and engaging people and, do more television and media things as well. I just have a passion for that, and it's not even about fame. It's truly that I just love to teach people how to cook and about food and to make people laugh and smile. And so, TikTok's helped me to have this platform where I can basically perform in front of millions of people. So it's pretty exciting, and that's free to do, which is pretty amazing.
There's a lot of aspects when it comes to both, owning a business and, these social media videos that you're doing. How do you balance both things?
Mm-hmm. You have to schedule time for social media. Sometimes it just happens organically, and that's great. But for, produced content, whether it's my Long Island Moms videos or my cooking videos, you have to set time for that. And, I am a business owner. I have 20 employees that I have to manage every day. So sometimes it's hard to take a step back. But, I know that these are things that are going to benefit everything and just look at the overall picture. So I schedule every Thursday pretty much is my content day. So I will my manager and I, we figure out what we're going to do that next Thursday. We plan things weeks in advance sometimes if I'm doing a collaboration with other content creators. And we just get it on a calendar so that I am committed to it and I make sure that it gets done. I mean, there are days when it's tough. I mean, because then after that, there's, can you do a voiceover for this video? I mean, it takes a lot of work. That's what people don't realize. And you have to invest some time and money in it sometimes to do it well. If I was doing this full time, maybe I could do content creation, by myself and not have a manager. But Chris has been so helpful to me because I am a business owner who is so busy managing my company. And so it's good to have someone to help me do that. I'm filming the content, but then he's editing it with his team. They are posting it. They're making a schedule of what's going up when. They're also telling me what is trending. What should I do that's really going to capture maybe a new audience or keep everyone engaged? What was performing well? What isn't performing well? Or what style of filming should we be focusing on? And it's a work in progress. I mean, I'm not perfect, and part of that is because of my lack of time, that you won't see every video beautifully shot, but I try to entertain the best I can, and even if it's not beautifully produced, hopefully that someone's learning something from it, and it's again nostalgic for someone or whatnot, but it takes time, and you have to really schedule it.
Is there a particular, genre that you really like to stick to?
I think it's my Italian-American family recipes, because it's just second nature to me, and it brings back fond memories for me. And again, I think resonates with a lot of other people. So I think being able to just make people have that nostalgic feeling is really special to me. And a lot of people write to me and tell me, oh, this is just like the way my grandma made it, and she's no longer with us, and this made me smile. So that just is everything to me. So I think it's Italian-American stuff.
So what would you say is your favorite recipe that you've made?
So I think it's probably the most successful one that I've ever done. It was my pastina. So pastina, if you don't know out there, it's tiny, tiny little star pasta. It's something that Italian moms give you when you're under the weather or you need comfort. And often it's just made with a little bit of butter and chicken stock, or just a little bit of butter, or sometimes a little bit of Parmesan cheese and butter, or an egg. Sometimes you'll mix in an egg for extra protein. So that is really the epitome of comfort for a lot of Italians. And I have several videos, I think maybe 6 or 7 at this point, using pastina in other ways. And I think a lot of people never thought of it that way. But it becomes the consistency of almost like a risotto, but it takes 5 minutes to make. So it's really, really delicious. And it started with my cacio e pepe pastina. So it's got cracked black pepper, it's got egg, pecorino romano cheese. I cook it with chicken broth to add more depth of flavor. And it's so comforting and so good. And millions of people have made it now, I think, at this point. I get comments about it all the time. It has millions of views. But that one, I think, is special because it was the first video that really took off and made me realize that just go with your roots and just be authentically you, and an audience will come with that.
So do you want to talk about the pastina craze that happened maybe, what was it, 5-6 months ago at this point?
Yeah, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So Ronzoni discontinued pastina.
Probably have heard of a little star-shaped pasta called pastina. Recently, it has taken over the internet because Italians are freaking out that Ronzoni, one of the brands who holds the pasta, is discontinuing pastina.
Horror.
And everyone was freaking out. But Barilla actually makes it too, and a couple other brands make it. But I'd say Barilla's is most similar to Ronzoni's. But Ronzoni discontinued it, so people were going to the stores and buying out the pastina. So you really couldn't even get the Barilla one very easily. And so I made a video kind of making a public service announcement that pastina was discontinued by Ronzoni, and it got a lot of attention and ended up, as I was saying before, I was on Good Morning America talking about it and Inside Edition. But I realized a lot of people didn't know what pastina was. If you weren't Italian American, people didn't know. Yeah. But so many people are now eating it and enjoying it. So that's really fun.
That's
cool. And I have now so many fans will send me, or when they meet me in person, give me a box of pastina. So I now have like 20-something boxes of pastina.
Wow.
Yeah. Even Ronzoni. People have gifted me their Ronzoni pastina that was in their pantry.
Wow.
I don't know if I haven't used it because I think I need to save it forever.
Yeah, I haven't used mine because I feel like I have gold in my pantry
Right?
now.
Yeah, I know.
Can't get rid of it.
But just epitome of comfort.
So do you think it was the nostalgia that made people go so crazy? Because like you said, there are other brands that did it. What made this pastina so...
I don't know what it was about the Ronzoni one, but I think it was just that it was hard to get than any brand. It was just when you take out Ronzoni, then there might be only Barilla, and it's just hard to find. But it's we call it Italian penicillin. It's like the matzo ball soup for Jews. It's the Italian version, and so I think people were like, "How are we gonna
Heal.
How are we gonna heal?"
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Talk about your TV experience. That's how you kind of kickstarted a lot of it. So what inspired you to even apply for TV?
Yeah. I had done a few TV things over the years, but smaller scale. It actually started, I think, in 2010. No, I'm sorry, not 2010, 2012 or 13. I was on an episode of Anderson Cooper Live. He had a talk show, a daytime talk show for a couple years. And he did a special edition of Food Network Chopped. And someone I went to college with was a production assistant. And she said, "Oh, they're casting for this. Are you interested? I know you love to cook," just because she had seen me on Facebook and things, just cooking. So I said, sure. I applied, ended up getting it, and won. So that was my first stint on television. And once I did that, I said, okay, I just love this. Even though I've always had anxiety, and the anticipation of something like that gets to me, but then once I'm in it and in the moment, I love every second. And so I always knew I wanted to do more. So I've had some other small opportunities here and there, but then it wasn't until, I guess this was 2 winters ago, Dan Levy, who's from Schitt's Creek, if you ever watched Schitt's Creek, he posted on Instagram that he was creating this new show and that he was looking for chefs to be on it, and it had all the criteria. And about 20 people that I knew sent it to me that day and said, "This is you. You have to apply." So I was like, wow, so as I read it, I said, this feels different. This feels like maybe this is the perfect opportunity for me. And also there are so many food competitions and things like that out there that are not necessarily well-intentioned. And I really wanted to do something that would be positive and not so cutthroat. It's just not my nature. So I applied, and it was about a 4-month casting process. It was really pretty grueling and a lot of hurry up and wait. Finally, 4 months later, I got chosen, and then I had to go to LA for about 5 weeks. I had never left my business for that long, so but it was amazing because I hired more people. I finally was able to delegate properly and trust the people that worked for me, and they did an amazing job without me, so it was great to be able to step away. But I left for 5 weeks, and I filmed the show, and in the beginning was feeling super insecure, and if you watch it, you definitely see that journey for me. Feeling insecure in what I was doing, that would it be enough? Was I... I knew flavor. I know how to cook. I know how to bake. But some of these other chefs had these really incredible technique and finesse because they had worked as a chef in these fine dining establishments and things that I really had more worked in the front of house, not even as a chef in those environments. So I was feeling a little insecure. But after the probably second or third episode, I realized that I had a place there and that the judges loved my food. They used words like, "This is the best thing I've ever put in my mouth" on many occasions. So I started to build more confidence and believe in myself, and it took me to the finals, and I got second place. But it changed my life, and my business grew a lot. My online sales, this is a crazy number, but I sometimes I'm like, do I share this? But I feel like it's just pretty incredible to talk about. My online sales grew 5,000%. Wow. So, things like this can change your life. And even though I didn't win the show, I felt like a winner.
What do you have in store next? I know you're going to Paris or France.
Yeah.
Doing a pastry tour, which I'm very excited to hear your journey about now. And your cookbook. So what is next for you?
So, a lot of things. But really just continuing to expand my business and hopefully be able to ship to a wider territory. And eventually I'd really love to be in national grocery store chains and be able to have maybe frozen, ready-to-bake products. That's something that's been a goal of mine for a while. Logistically, I've realized it's actually really tough to do, so we're still working on that. But that's something that is always going to be a goal of mine. I won't stop until that happens. But also on the television front, I really love to teach people how to cook on TV and just I can't really share it, but, working with some people right now to hopefully develop a show. So hoping that comes. And, again, working on my book. So unfortunately, it takes a while. You don't realize cookbooks take a long time to actually be in print. But fall 2025, you will be able to buy it. So that's really what I've been focusing on.
Are you still developing recipes for the cookbook?
Yeah, I have kind of a set list of what will be in the book, but some of the recipes I have to revisit and kind of tweak. And so I usually execute a couple recipes a week and really try to narrow it down and make sure that it's perfect before I move on to the next one. So my husband and my employees benefit from that because they're my guinea pigs.
That's a nice gig.
Yeah, not good for your waistline, but definitely makes you happy. So it's really hopefully more TV stuff and the book and expanding the business. And, expanding the business also means providing more jobs to some really amazing, deserving people.
So what advice would you have for small business owners, especially on Long Island, including, young people too who are trying to really get into the TikTok space as well?
So my advice for entrepreneurs is, trust the journey. I've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's all a part of my story, and it's how I've gotten where I am today. I lost my job very suddenly, which is why I started my business. And that day it felt pretty crappy, but it wouldn't have pushed me to do what I'm doing. So just trust the journey and know that, it does require a lot of hard work, but your focus should be not on the money either. I always tell people that I'm not driven by money. I just love what I do, and then that translates into sales. But if you're constantly focused on making money, you won't be successful. I truly believe that. You have to love what you do, and then also you have to understand how to manage people and make sure those people are happy and that their morale is good, because then they will make good food or good products or whatever you're doing. They will perform well. Happy people just will perform better. I'm never focused on the money. And I think that's a good mindset to have, because if you do it well and you're happy and you do things the right way, those things will come. But it shouldn't be in the forefront of your mind. On a TikTok front, again, like I said before, you should try different things and see what sticks. Again, being authentically you, what makes you unique, and see what works. I even tried things like making recipes from movies, dishes that were in movies, and then recreating it, and people really love that because there are people out there that love that movie too. So think about things that are nostalgic for you, and also, again, try different things and see what sticks. And then focus on that. You don't have to do it all. You kind of want to narrow it down to a little bit more of a niche and focus. Everyone can do it. That's the thing. And sometimes it happens accidentally because we made some stupid video that goes viral, right? But, sometimes it takes a little more work because there is so much competition out there. But you can do it.